Welcome to Tomorrow.Africa, the podcast that explores the possibilities and the potential of Web3 in the African continent. We believe that the future of Africa is bright and that emerging technologies such as blockchain can accelerate its development. We interview people who contribute to this breakthrough in Africa and around the world and who hold a positive vision for the future. My name is Yassir Lokman and I'll be your host for this podcast. Welcome to this episode where we're exploring the game-changing impact of Web3 technologies on land registry management in Africa. My guest today is Nnamdi Uba, the founder of HouseAfrica, a startup at the forefront of transforming the real estate sector in Nigeria. HouseAfrica's solutions are reshaping the industry from streamlined satellite mapping to blockchain-backed land allocation certificates. Get ready to discover how blockchain is shaping the future of land ownership in Africa and how these innovations are solving key problems, fostering trust, and revolutionizing property transactions across the continent. Nnamdi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Could you please introduce yourself, share a few words about your background and what led you to the world of entrepreneurship in the Web3 ecosystem?
Okay, my name is Nnamdi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of HouseAfrica. Having coming from the technology background, I read information technology in the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. So I came in contact with Web3 platform, Web3 technology in 2016, where I think that was through Bitcoin. So we were investing in Bitcoin, buying and selling Bitcoin. So later on, I co-founded a platform with my current co-founder in HouseAfrica now. We started a startup called BitPayer, which is a cryptocurrency exchange, and that was in 2017. So I've been in this space for over 7 years now, and in Africa here they call us the OGs of Web3.
So you've launched HouseAfrica, which is a platform that tackles the problem of land registry in African countries. What specific challenges in land registry management did you identify that led you to establish HouseAfrica? And could you elaborate on the problem you have to solve specifically with this project?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So when we were doing the BitPayer cryptocurrency exchange platform, so my co-founder bought a property in a state called a city called Port Harcourt in Nigeria. So after some time, we found out that he's not actually the owner of that property. So he was like a second person sold that property to. So that was when we found out that there is a big issue. Even after he has done normal checks in the government registries, found out that he is not the owner and he lost about $18,000. So, but although we use court cases and the rest to see how we can recover those money, so that was what led us into researching more about land registries and land titles. And we found out that blockchain can actually help to reduce this error. And again, we look at what is in the African real estate sector. We found out that why these things are happening is because there is no efficient land registry. Everything is on paper. So there is bound to have duplicate allocations. There is bound to have errors. Okay. And again, the real estate. So, and again, we have several real estate land registries. Like in Nigeria, the state registries is there. The federal registry is there. The local government registries is there. Nigeria has about 774 local government, and all these people has their own registries. The agency, the federal and state agencies also has their own registry. Like we have housing corporation agencies in different 36 states of Nigeria. And we now have Federal Housing Authority, which is in the federal, which is in, which is in the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. So now, with all these federal and government agencies, the private real estate companies too also have their own registry because they go to communities, acquire land, they call it estates. They can buy hectares of land, divide it into multiple plots of land or parcels of land, and start selling it. All these records are still with them and they are all on paper. So these things cause a lot of issues, duplicate of allocation, over subscriptions that, let's say a plot is 400 and because of massive campaign or massive marketing, 1,000 people will subscribe and the rest 600 might not be able to get plots of land because that plot was actually for 400. And this, they might be taken to another land that might even be cheaper, far cheaper than what they even paid for. So these are all the challenges with the land in Africa that is happening. And we brought all these things together and started building a solution that can help solve this problem and increase sales and trust and transparency in the real estate market.
All right, let's delve into the solution HouseAfrica offers. Could you tell more about the products you offer and how they address the issues faced in the real estate sector in Nigeria and other African countries?
Okay, starting with the real estate, the private sector, which is the real estate developers, will build a system that can help them digitize their land records in order for them to show the status of these lands and make it transparent to everyone. So people can see the location, people can verify these lands, people can make a choice of the plot that they want and make payment. And that way, it can enable them to reduce their sales cycle by at least 50%. So currently, we are working with over 100 plus real estate company, and we have helped them digitize over 11,000 hectares of land currently. And we just launched a payment feature of the platform where buyers can now easily select a plot and make payment. And from where we are now, we are going towards making it an embedded real estate solution where we can partner with real estate listing companies and embed these things embed these digital estates on their platform, enabling anybody anywhere in the world to access these properties and as it is at that moment they're accessing it. That's in real time, make transaction and get a digital certificate of allocation that can prove that this real estate company has actually allocated this land to you while you wait for the paperwork.
And what role does blockchain play exactly in these solutions? I can see that it brings better security and trust, but can it go beyond that and even serve as a platform to, for example, facilitate transactions and the exchange of value?
Yes, we are. Like I said initially, we are helping the buyer generate certificate of allocation. So this certificate of allocation is powered by NFT on the blockchain. The goal is to make it immutable and make it verifiable such that when you buy a plot of land, you can easily validate that it comes from this real estate company. And you can also, in the future, we're looking at where you can also transfer it from one person to another.
So your products seem to offer diverse solutions to the real estate sector. Could you elaborate on some of the use cases enabled by these solutions and for which users specifically they're aimed for?
Okay, the use cases are for the real estate company. Like I said, usually, let me use what they currently do now. So usually when they get these lands, they draw a layout of how the estate or the city or the community is going to look like. These days, they have these things on paper, on PDF. You understand? So and also they share it with their prospective client. Most times these things are very difficult for someone to even read and understand. So what we did is to take this layout that they have done or the plan of the estate, digitize it, place it on the exact location where it is on the map using geospatial technologies. That way, when you share the digital one, a buyer can see it the exact place where it is and can even browse around its location and to help them verify the location properly. And they can also in real time see all the neighborhood that the real estate companies are talking about, and at the same time, seed those layers and plan of that estate, seed these parcels of land or unit of properties that has already been sold out, so that you can't pick those ones anymore, and the ones that are available that you can pick from to make your transaction or make payment. So the goal is, while doing that, it reduces too much selling preaches or too much of sales promises or thereabout. So it helps the buyer to make the decision, 70% of the decision, before even saying, okay, take my money. So that way you don't need to sell too much or oversell. It becomes easier, and you can also close a lot of deals faster because people now see what they are buying virtually before they can even make payment. Of course, most of them, the system doesn't remove visitation of the site. But at least before you visit, you must have at least have 70% conviction before you now visit to confirm. Because most time going to those sites are a little bit far. It might not be close to the town. It could be like a remote area that is very close to the town. So going there might be very difficult. So you help your client to make at least 70% decision before they start coming to the location to view these properties, especially people in diaspora. Okay, people in diaspora that are not in Nigeria can easily stay wherever they are and view all these properties and understand exactly where it is before they can make payment.
Now, what type of data is registered in your platform and it is then authenticated through NFTs? Do you, for example, register data like geographic situation, the urban situation, the area of the land, its owner, its history, and so on?
Yes, we register the necessary data needed. For example, the coordinate of the land, the coordinate of the whole project as a whole. When the real estate company sells, or when a buyer buys, the property is allocated to the person. We also put the person's information, the owner of the land, against that coordinate in such a way that the real estate company on their own dashboard can see all the people that this plot has been allocated and can send them message or even upload the paper document against their own plot on the system. That way is also helping them to store the paper document in the cloud.
In your external communication, you talk about proof of ownership. So how does proof of ownership work, and how does it leverage blockchain to authenticate ownership of a property?
Yes, so once the buyer, because the real estate companies are focusing more on virgin lands that do not have title even from the government. Okay, so that person actually buying that land is actually the first owner. So we record that first owner to become the owner of that land, and we do it based on the real estate company that is buying it. So we actually helping the real estate company do this because they have already, before our system, they're already doing it, but everything is manual. But we are giving them our system to be using to do these things. Okay, so when that person bought the property and the plot is marked against his name, he becomes the owner, and it can be verified or referenced to that he's actually the owner.
If a land is not registered or authenticated by a governmental institution, how do you solve the issue on land, title, and ownership authentication. From my understanding, blockchain can serve as a means to store data in a secure and immutable way, sure. But how do you ensure that the data and that the documents are authentic at the first place, so it could then be recorded in the blockchain in an immutable way?
Yes, so to ensure that, what we do is we verify the real estate company first. We verify the project, or the, let's say, 50 acres of land that they are converting into community, on the system, on with the local government or state government, that we verify all these estates. But most times, those estates do not have titles. They are usually freehold. Okay. So what they usually do is, when they get it, they survey it and go back and register it. Sometimes they go as length as getting the title of the property. Because they're getting title in Nigeria takes a long time. It takes almost 2 to 3 years to get a title in Nigeria. So what we are focusing more is building a registry of transactions, you understand, and not government title. Okay, because, like I said, in the initial, we are starting from the private real estate company. So we are digitizing whatever they are doing as process. We are digitizing all their processes, and not the government side. Because to digitize the government side, that means all the records that happens since when the country was formed, we'll start putting them on the blockchain. So we are not doing those side. That's why I said our focus is more on the private side, and at the same time, our focus is on the transaction side, helping to see that we can create trust and transparency in the real estate ecosystem. Because even without our system now, transactions fly in out. You understand? Everywhere in the world, or everywhere in Nigeria. But what we're trying to do is to streamline it and show this data out and say, this real estate company has this estate, and him is sharing it to you to tell you, I have this estate. It's also where you can view the verified report from the government. You can view the ones that are available and the ones that has been sold. You can make a choice and pay. You will get the land and the title, or sorry, and the government documentations. So that is what we actually focusing more on. And again, the way we build the system, we didn't build it that the real estate company has to come to our platform to use these solutions. No, we build it in such a way that we'll give it out to them. So it's hosted on their own server. So they use it as if it's their own. It's more like a white label solution that we were doing for them. So you won't even see sitemap on the platform. So they use those digital they use the digital real estate and embed it on their own website, so that they can create more trust for their buyers and their agent. So the goal is, if they are transparent and all the real estate companies in Nigeria are transparent, now trust from the buyers will grow. And that way, people can buy land as if they are booking flights without having any question of whether it's genuine or not, because they will see that it's genuine.
And do you aim to work at some point with the governmental institutions managing the urban planning of cities and land registries? From what I'm able to see, it would make sense for them to adopt such solutions to manage land titles and register properties, considering that in most African countries, it is still managed through a paper-based system. So is it part of your strategy?
Yes, it is. So we are looking at partnering with the federal government, the state government at every level. We are not looking at digitizing their solutions, but we are looking at where we can partner with them, so that these buyers on the platform, on the using sitemap, can also, through that sitemap, apply for their titles directly to the government. That way, government can also have all those records too.
Can you share some insights into HouseAfrica's current achievements in addressing land registry challenges? And additionally, do you have plans to expand your services to other African countries?
Yes, we are already in talk with, we're already in research with Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, because it's virtually the same problem. So, and other emerging markets, not just Africa.
All right. So we've heard about HouseAfrica's transformative impact, but I'm curious to know about your broader vision. What is your outlook for the future of the African continent in the age of Web3 and other emerging technology? And how do you see HouseAfrica contributing to that vision?
Yeah, as Web3 is coming on board, Web3 is focusing more on transparency, trust, and security. So we see, because of what we are building at HouseAfrica, which is sitemap, we are seeing ourselves to become the infrastructure backbone for trusted real estate transaction. Because with Web3, we're going to make it easier, simple, and secure to buy property as if you are booking flights.
Right. For entrepreneurs looking to start ventures in the African Web3 space, could you share some insights on how such startups can raise capital? And additionally, what opportunities do you see within the African continent in terms of training and mentorship for companies leveraging Web3 ventures?
Okay, Africa has Africa has a very huge potential in terms of Web3, because there are a lot of things going wrong that can be corrected using Web3, such as remittance, sending money back to Africa is one of the challenges that we are having. Land, property and land purchase is also one of the challenges. Shipping and delivery is also another angle where Web3 solutions can also come on board to help. So any startup or any company coming in to build a solution in Africa should focus on these fundamental problems, which is health, food, shelter, and the rest. So that way, we can be able to use this technology to solve this problem, because they are fundamental problems of Africa. And we believe that in the next 5 to 10 years coming on board, Web3 adoption would have been set in proper in Africa, because we see Africa as where Web3 solution can be applied effectively.
And is there already funding that is possible for such startups that would like to get started in this Web3 ecosystem in the African continent?
Yes, of course. There are already funding. There are already key players who are here that are already funding. We have the CVVC. We have the likes of them that are already presently in Africa funding startups, great startups in Africa, of which we are part of their startups that they invested in. So we also seen other people who have the likes of Beta Ventures too, who are also focusing on also investing in Web3 startups. So we are seeing growth in funding coming to Africa Web3 startups recently. We also have Adevas who are also participating heavily in investing in startups that are using Web3 solution to solve African problems.
Nnamdi, how can people follow HouseAfrica, learn more about your work, and be updated about future projects?
Okay, great. To follow HouseAfrica, just type sitemap HQ. That's sitemap headquarters, but we use HQ as abbreviation. So the sitemap is XYTEMAP across board, across all the social media.
All right, Nnamdi, it was great talking to you. Thank you for having shared the insights about HouseAfrica. It was very, very insightful. Good luck for the future, and looking forward to having you in the future on the Tomorrow Africa podcast.
Thank you, Yasin. Thank you so much for your time.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Feel free to visit our website, Tomorrow.Africa, and subscribe to our channels to be updated about the future episodes. We publish 2 episodes per month at the 1st and 15th of each month, so stay tuned for the next ones. And until then, stay curious, stay ambitious, and see you tomorrow.